Welcome back, everybody, to our chatbot building tutorial series where we teach you how to build your own custom chatbot without the need for code. And just in case this is the first video you've seen, I'm going to put a link in the description to the entire playlist of the tutorial so far. And again, as a reminder for this entire tutorial series, we are using a platform called Voiceflow. It's a powerful no-code chat building platform that has a free plan that should be enough for you to start learning how to build your own chatbot. And if you've been following this entire tutorial series so far and you found it helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more upcoming tutorials. Just a quick recap. Part 1, I've shown you the basics. Part 2, we took those basics and applied it to a voice-based chatbot. Part 3, you learned how to capture and understand user responses using intents. Part 4, you learned how to manage when the response is outside the scope of the chatbot. Number 5, I've shown you how to organize your intents into topics just in case you're building a really large chatbot just to keep things organized and simple to understand. For part 5, it's going to be super short but very important. Today we're going to learn how to use components. Now, what is a component? Well, simply put, a component is a block or a group of blocks like this one that you save as a component so that you can easily reuse them multiple times without the need to rebuild the block manually. It could be something as simple as a set of messages that you just want to be able to easily repeat over and over, or as complex as maybe collecting information from users or a form they can fill up. Now, let's make a very simple example here. So, let's say I want a call to action to remind the chatter, the user, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So the way you create a component is if you already have an existing one, you just right click and then you have the option here to create component. But we don't have that yet, so you can use any of your designer boards and build the component you want to make. So I wanted to say, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I've also prepared an image just to make things colorful. There we go. Now, let's just rename this. Let's just say it's subscribe call to action. Now, I want to have this saved as a component so I could call this anytime I want. So the way you do that, like I said, just right click and create component. It will then be collapsed into simply calling it component one. And if you see here on your left sidebar, you now have a list of your components. So you can right click here and rename it just so we know what's what. Let's just call this YouTube CTA, call to action. There we go. So um, now that we have saved this as a component, even if you delete this one, it's already saved here on your components in the sidebar. So let's just go ahead and check it, make sure it's connected. So here, as you can see, we have saved our component. Now let's try applying this component pretty much everywhere just for demonstration. So it wouldn't make sense to place it here, but again, just to show you it works. Let's put the call to action in the welcome screen or welcome like flow. And let's also put it in the YouTube tutorials flow. There we go. So let's try to run this. There we go. It showed our component here that we created. Now, since we've also placed it in the tutorial flow, if you remember in part 4, our trigger for the tutorial flow is saying something like, how do you build a chatbot? We're now in our tutorial flow, and there's a call to action. So as you can see, this is a very powerful tool that allows you to repeat things quickly over and over and over and over, especially if you have a very big project. But being able to repeat things over and over easily is not the only great thing about components. Another great thing about components is each time you use a component, it's treated as an instance, not a copy. That means if you want to change something, you can simply go and edit your component and it will be applied to all of the instances you made. Now imagine if you handmade this block for every time you want to show it, and then you decide down the road you need to change the message. You're going to be changing so many blocks instead of just changing one. So let's try changing the message. Let's just remove the don't forget. Let's just directly say subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's go back to our start and then let's run it. There we go. Our changes has reflected right away. Let's go to our tutorial flow. How do you build a chatbot? And there you go. It's the changes we made already applied to every single time we've used the component. Now again, what we've shown you here is a very simple example, but imagine if this was a very long form where you ask your user for information like what's your name, what's your last name, what's your email, what's your contact details. You have a very complex form. Instead of creating those forms over and over, just save them as a component so you can use it anytime you want. So that's it for part 6. Again, super simple concept, but very powerful thing to start using. Uh, so if you found this helpful and you've been following this entire series and you found it helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more tutorials to come on this channel. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.